Log on to patreon.com/Dane Calloway or paypal.me/Dane Calloway to support me, my channel, and my content. Merchandise is now available at I'mJustHereToMakeYouThink.com. Oh, see you, my brothers and sisters, relatives, spiritual warriors, and free thinkers. Many of my viewers were requesting for me to share my thoughts on this particular situation at hand. So today, we're going over something a little bit different from the norm, but is still very essential and noteworthy for our community to be cognizant of. So let's put everything into perspective here. The breaking news of this past week was that billionaire businessman and hip-hop artist Jay-Z signed a partnership deal with the National Football League. Now, at the time of its initial announcement on August 14th, 2019, ironically, the same day former 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick first kneeled during a national anthem ceremony at an NFL game 3 years ago, social media went into a frenzy due to other social media influences, like celebrity news media company TMZ, and former New York Times writer and now Black Lives Matter activist Shaun King, for example, spearheading things out of control. Here's what I mean by that. Once this partnership deal was announced by Jay-Z, Roc Nation, and NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell themselves, at a press conference meeting on August 14th, news media outlet TMZ, as usual, claimed that they somehow gathered the inside scoop on what this deal was truly about. And of course, they were the first to report it. Just 2 days after the announcement, August 16th, 2019, TMZ reported, quote, Jay-Z to become part owner of NFL team, end quote. The very brief article on their website goes on to state, quote, Jay-Z had multiple reasons for becoming part of the NFL family. And TMZ Sports has learned one of them is that he's going to become part owner of an NFL team, and it's going to happen soon. Sources connected to Jay and with direct knowledge tell us Jay is going to have a significant ownership interest in an NFL team. As for which team, we're not being told, but we are told it is going to happen in the near future. We're told Jay wants to become a part owner because he's a huge fan and already has a sports business and wants to continue to be a change agent for the NFL, end quote. Remember that powerful message that actor Denzel Washington presented in front of multiple news media outlets?
If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed.
So what do you do?
That's a great question. What is the long-term effect of too much information? One of the effects is the need to be first, not even to be true anymore. So what a responsibility you all have to tell the truth, not just to be first, but to tell the truth. We live in a society now where it's just first. Who cares? Get it out there. We don't care who it hurts. We don't care who we destroy. We don't care if it's true. Just say it, sell it. Anything you practice, you'll get good at. Including BS.
So the public actually fell victim to TMZ's exclusive clickbaiting, false and misleading reporting once again, because the brief details of the partnership were made public already, and NFL team ownership is not one of them. In fact, the details of this deal says, quote, the league plans to use Roc Nation, home to Rihanna, DJ Khaled, and other stars, to consult on and co-produce its entertainment presentations, including the Super Bowl halftime show. The NFL will also work with Jay-Z's company to help its Inspire Change initiative, created by the league after an agreement with a coalition of players who demonstrated during the national anthem to protest social and racial injustice in this country. Those demonstrations were sparked by Kaepernick kneeling during the national anthem in 2016, end quote. So once again, TMZ reported false information, and this time it sparked a viral internet backlash towards Jay-Z. Then 2 days later, on August 18th, 2019, former New York Times writer and Black Lives Matter activist Shaun King goes to his Instagram to post a nearly 13-minute rant about this deal, with the title being, quote, "Jay-Z was wrong," surrounded by the same color scheme of the Black Lives Matter logo, website, and merch, black, white, and yellow. Shaun starts off by saying this.
But I am deeply disappointed in Jay-Z. I'm deeply disappointed that he formed this partnership with the NFL. I'm deeply disappointed to learn that he has been privately negotiating this partnership for over a year without ever mentioning a word of it to Colin Kaepernick, even though they spoke countless times. I think it's incredibly telling that all of these times that Jay-Z and Colin Kaepernick have talked, that he never mentioned that he's negotiating a partnership with the NFL. I think he didn't mention it because he knew what the response would be. I'm deeply disappointed at several different things that Jay-Z said in his press conference with NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell yesterday.
Okay, so here's the issue with his opening statement. How does Shaun know for sure that Colin Kaepernick did not speak with Jay-Z about this deal? If he truly knew for sure that Colin did not speak with Jay, wouldn't his next sentence be that he spoke with Colin directly about this? Or are we just going to assume that? I mean, even Jay-Z himself was asked if he spoke with Colin about this deal at the conference meeting on August 14th. And this was his response.
Jay-Z, have you spoken with Cap? If so, what was the conversation? If not, why not?
I would never tell you what me and Cap's private conversation was about, but we spoke, yeah.
So if Jay-Z says that he spoke with Colin and will not be disclosing what was said between them, then that firmly lets you know that yes, Colin was aware of this deal. But Colin apparently just didn't share that information with you, Shaun. Did Colin himself come out and say that he had no idea about this deal? No. And once again, did you come out and say that you spoke with Colin about this deal? Absolutely not. What's very important to note here is that Shaun goes on in his rant and says that he is, quote, a personal friend of Colin Kaepernick. I have to say this as someone who advised him and spoke with him often while he was taking a knee. But I also have to say what I have to say as a historian, as someone who understands the historical significance of what Colin Kaepernick has done, the sacrifice that he's made, and the price that he is still paying for that sacrifice at this very moment, end quote. And I get all of that. And it's funny that he says that actually, because if Shaun is a personal friend to Colin, like he claims he is, wouldn't Colin have responded to Shaun's post by now? I mean, really, if Colin is your personal friend, why is there no like by Colin's official Instagram account on your posted video rant about this situation right now? Then he goes on and says that he's, quote, deeply disappointed in what Jay-Z said during the conference meeting.
Jay-Z and the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell look like lifelong friends. They look like they loved each other. And we learned this morning that they've actually met 5 times over this past year, flying cross country to meet each other over and over again to make this partnership a reality. And I'll close with this thought. I was particularly disgusted to hear Jay-Z say in an interview that we're past kneeling. First of all, Jay-Z, you've never kneeled. You never took a knee. So when you say we're past kneeling, who are you? What knee did you take to be past? We're past kneeling. So you never kneeled. And saying that we're past it, to saying that we're past it, is a slap in the face.
Now, I'm not here to take sides and say who's better than the other and try to stir up some personal issues with people I don't know personally. I'm just here to make people think. And I do know what's right and what's wrong in today's society of America. And in this case, like many other cases Black Lives Matter has involved themselves in, Shaun King is wrong. And here's why. Jay-Z was asked would he kneel or would he stand? And here's his response.
I think we passed kneeling. I think it's time to go into actionable items. No, I don't want people to stop protesting at all. I know we're stuck on it because it's a real thing, but it's a form of protest. I support protests across the board. We need to bring light to the issue. I think everyone knows what the issue is, and we're done with that. I'm not minimizing that part of it because that has to happen. That's a necessary part of the process. But now we all know what's going on. What are we going to do? Because the kneeling was not about a job. It was about injustice. Let me bring attention to injustice. Everyone's saying, well, how are you going forward and Cap doesn't have a job? This wasn't about him having a job.
So my question for my viewers would be, was Jay-Z wrong for saying that we are past kneeling and it's now time for actionable items? Isn't that what we want as a community? Isn't that the overall realistic goal as a community? To go through the process of protesting against something that is unwanted and then move forward by having a positive dialogue that could bring about benevolent change in this country? Leave your comments down below and tell me what you think. Now, it's quite obvious that Jay-Z is a capitalist due to him being a billionaire right now. But does that mean that people should jump to conclusions and call him a sellout? Does that mean that the media should be allowed to paint a picture of Jay-Z as if he's actually against his own people as a whole? Because realistically, wouldn't you think Beyonce would immediately file for divorce if this was actually true? According to public records, Jay-Z, or rather Sean Carter, has used this platform numerous times, since the early 2000s to be exact, to speak about various issues within this country, bring awareness to them, and he also put his life and career on the line with taking action against these issues. Like for example, in the year 2013, Jay-Z and his wife Beyonce took part in protesting for justice in the Trayvon Martin case. In 2014, he met with the governor of New York, demanding changes to the justice system right after the Eric Garner decision. In 2015, he bailed out protesters in Baltimore and in Ferguson with his own money. Then in 2016, he released a video called "The War on Drugs is an Epic Fail," which was a history lesson on the war on drugs and a call to end biased policing and mass incarceration. Then in 2017, he released a documentary called Time, the Khalif Browder story, which shed light on juveniles who are in solitary confinement, and it also exposes the duplicities of the New York bail system. And also during that same year, Sean Carter himself bailed out incarcerated dads for Father's Day. In 2018, he executive produced a documentary called Rest in Power, the Trayvon Martin story. In 2019, he hired an attorney to represent the Phoenix family who was threatened by a cop in a viral video. And he also hired an attorney to help assist rap artist 21 Savage with his alleged illegal immigration case. And he also got involved with funding and assisting the release of rap artist Meek Mill due to social injustice and racial inequality that was placed upon Meek for more than 10 years. Now, of course, I can go over many other positive things that Jay-Z has done over the course of 20 years that the media forgets about, but to some of you, it doesn't matter anyway. Kaepernick is out of a job, and Jay-Z signs a deal with that same company that is allegedly blackballing him. But wasn't this whole thing about bringing awareness to racial inequality, social injustice, and police brutality in the first place? So why is it that people are now complaining and arguing about Kaepernick being out of a job with the NFL when Kaepernick himself said, quote, "Believe in something. even if it means sacrificing everything, during a Nike commercial that he was featured in. Now, I support many things that Colin has done over the time period that his voice had the floor, but isn't it important to note that Nike is the official brand that makes the NFL jerseys right now? So is Colin Kaepernick a sellout for taking a deal with Nike, who works directly with the NFL? No. Is he a capitalist for taking this deal? Of course. Just like him or Jay-Z or anybody else that partners with a large corporation and pretty pennies are involved. Now, let me remind you again that I'm not taking sides here, because I don't know any of these people personally, but I do know that many people are missing a few key factors surrounding the reason why Kaepernick is not playing in the NFL right now. First, it was his choice not to go back to playing with the 49ers. In fact, on March 3rd, 2017, the San Francisco 49ers tweeted that Colin Kaepernick has officially opted out of his contract. With no other quarterbacks signed to their roster, and with Colin set to hit free agency, the 49ers general manager said, quote, "We want him to keep us in mind," end quote. This is even after all of the controversy following all of his protests on the field. Now, did he want to be out of the NFL? Because according to a few NFL teams and many other senior sports reporters, Colin Kaepernick was in fact offered a job multiple times.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just named you 4 teams. Seattle, Miami, Denver, Baltimore. All of them were going to bring Colin Kaepernick on. All of them. Every one of them.
Stephen A. Smith goes on to explain why each of these deals never transpired, and it wasn't the NFL's doing, nor was it each of those NFL team owners who stopped it. And they went on record and stated their cases individually, and Kaepernick never responded, making it seem as if they were right all along. So with all of that being said, Jay-Z's partnership with the NFL doesn't make him a laborer. It actually makes him a decision maker with power, with his non-official title being, quote, live music entertainment strategist and social justice consultant. Do I think music would somehow help with social injustice? I honestly don't know, but I can recall a lot of entertainers who use their stage performances to bring awareness to many issues that spark dialogues towards a positive change in America. And another thing I wanted to point out is Meek Mill and Jay-Z's Reform Alliance Company, in which their mission is to, quote, dramatically reduce the number of people who are unjustly under the control of the criminal justice system, starting with probation and parole. To win, we will leverage our considerable resources to change laws, policies, hearts, and minds, end quote. What is also important to note about Reform is that its founding partners are so-called black and white multi-millionaires and billionaires. Like, for example, Michael Rubin, who was the co-owner of the Philadelphia 76ers of the NBA, and Robert Kraft, who was the owner of the New England Patriots of the NFL. And Reform's CEO is criminal justice activist Van Jones. It was said during the press conference about Jay-Z's partnership with the NFL that Robert Kraft introduced Sean Carter to NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, and even joined them both during their first official meeting out of 4 other meetings that followed thereafter during their near 7-month business relationship. News reporters at the Rock Nation headquarters during this press conference asked some very interesting questions, in which one of them were pertaining to their plan concerning social injustice and police brutality. Both parties stated suggestions, ideas, and possible goals, and even asked the reporters for more suggestions and advice, but refrained from giving official main objectives of this deal until further notice, due to their claim of this deal being so brand new at this time. So we'll just have to wait and see what transpires over time, with Rock Nation and the NFL stating that things will officially kick off during the year 2020. We'll have some answers by then, but until that time arises, let's just make sure that we all, as individuals, continue to do our parts with bringing awareness towards multiple issues that we all suffer from in today's society of America. I'm just here to make you think.